Hello and welcome, I'm JD, and this is the final game of this patch before the OSP update releases. So I was playing as Young Pup, just another pseudonym, I guess you could call it, as I hadn't really been come back playing as JD at the moment. We're taking the Battleship Leap of Henrietta with two corvettes, both of them playing either a locking role or a sort of anti-scout role with Mark 64s. So you can see here our team is deploying on pillars. I haven't deployed yet because I'm not sure where I want to go, but I will end up going over on point B, while the rest of our team sort of stacks around point E on the left-hand side, and we do get a bit of a change there, so we actually end up sort of stacking on the right, and that should get us to deploy. So in we come, the Leap of Henrietta. We'll eventually get a small update for the OSP release. They can now get Mark 65 cannons, or 3 250mm cannons, and that'll go on the top front mount of my battleship. But until then, we're still rocking all 450mm. So I want to move the Leap of Henrietta around to the right-hand side. There's also the Battleship Rat King, so we're going to use that. Between the two of us, we have a fair amount of firepower, whilst I also move one of the corvettes into capture point B. So the Rat King could do it, but at the end of the day, the corvettes are always faster, and the faster you can get onto the capture points, the quicker you're actually going to be able to start to rack up some of those points. And when the game goes late, that can sometimes be the difference between a win or a loss, and ideally I should be going to flank speed for that corvette just to get that little bit of extra speed into that point. Some of these ships, or both of these ships, have pinards, so I am starting to roll the top ship whilst I position the bottom ship up a little bit further down, rolling both so that the pinards will start to intersect, or hopefully will intersect, with any of the other ships that do start to come through the middle of the map.
Aye, aye, Commander.
And I'm having a little bit of trouble remembering which way to roll, as it has been a while.
Force laid in.
Awaiting orders, Commander.
Looks like some early missiles being fired out through the middle of A.
Standing by.
And I'm not sure if I capture if they actually hit anyone or not. There we go, just adjusting that pinard again. Friend over here's got Iwa frigate, and it looks like he also has a, I want to say an interruption jammer. No, that's not right. The disco ball. I can't remember its name off the top of my head, but blocking some command-guided missiles there. Although a few do look like they take a hit onto the HSPH Chad. And a couple early missile salvos yub-nubbed around will be engaged by the Auroras from the Rat King, but they do get me, so they take out, or almost take out, the main engine, and they take out my Mark 64 cannon as well. So the main engine has 0%, but it actually still is active until you hit destroyed. So whilst this is 0%, it is still technically operational, just severely limited, and you'll see that play out a little bit later on as I limp around the battlefield. Ideally, I probably shouldn't have gone in, or I should have gone in maybe with some more point defense, but like, these are the trade-offs you have when you want to cap a point early. It's a known tactic, and a known counter is to fire a couple missiles early and hope that the corvette isn't with any other ships, so that you're able to start to get some hits on it. And ideally, if you can kill that corvette, you can stop it capturing the point. I'd already captured the point by the looks of it, so it was okay. Now at this point I actually thought it was dead in the water. It's only sort of after I do this sort of post-review that I actually understand that, oh no, it was still working. You also start to see me move the heading around for the Leap of Henrietta. As it comes around, instead of letting it manually turn, I want to start to engage those frontal thrusters, turning the ship so that it's facing the main rock on the right-hand side, which is where the enemy can really hide behind. because we're going to be moving across a fair degree of space, I want to keep my point defense facing that way. And you can see the Rat King, he's making good speed as well. So the Leap of Henrietta gets detected here up in the left-hand corner. You see the yellow, I'm not really sure what to call that symbol, but the yellow 4 V's facing into each other signify that we've been detected. And you can see that the pinard at the very bottom on anti-scout has actually identified that there is something up the top of the map. So we actually get a lock on it. I'm not sure if that's Rat King, because it certainly wasn't me, so I'm pretty sure it was him. Now, he's a beam battleship as well, so he wants to close the distance. I'm actually going to try and get some shots on, but they're able to just duck back and cover. And you'll see that play out over the next couple of minutes as we move in position. He's also jamming enough that we actually can't get a lock for too long. So we go through this bout of see them, don't see them, lock, unlock, get a few shots. Now I'm going to just drive forward. I actually want to go underneath the rock a little bit. Try to use it as a bit of cover. Now this is subjective whether this is a good move or not. Because ultimately what ends up happening is locking me out of position to support Rat King. Now Rat King's already engaged some evasive maneuvers so that he doesn't have to continually worry, or maybe he's going to look elsewhere. But the ship's going to do its own thing and move around. Just to do a little bit of dodging, but you can see that I'm quite a little bit behind and underneath him as well.
Moving out, Commander.
Now the anti-scout being a little bit smaller, I'm going to keep going underneath, try and get a lock, from the other side. It should be okay at this range. Haven't really tested the elevation from where I am to the top of the right hand side of the map, but you know, I'm gambling on the fact that it's small enough it'll remain undetected. Now someone was shooting rails there as well. I obviously called it out, but I can't remember. It was about 20 seconds ago. There we go. We start to go backwards and forwards with the locks and the shooting again. Remember, you can do shift right click and all your weapons will be grouped together or of the same type. I forgot that, so I kept doing it all manually, which is just silly, but you know, sometimes you forget even the basic things. There's our jamming. Now I've got a jammer also under the nose of the Leap of Henrietta. However, that's going to require it to roll. So what I should have been doing here is also pre-rolling. The main reason is because every time that they duck away, I have to then re-roll my ship to get the cannons back on track, and that's just a rookie error. Yeah, there I go, clicking all the different weapons again. Gives me something to do whilst my battleship moves across, but yeah, I should have pre-rolled, so I knew something was out here. It takes time to bring my ship around, or roll around, and that's time that I'm not getting rounds on target, and effectively not supporting Rat King very well. So just little points here can sometimes make a difference in the wider game.
Engage jamming.
We're ready when you are, Commander.
The old comms jamming bug. I don't think we know how to fix that one yet. It comes up from time to time. So yeah, I remembered that I can still move the HMAS Spree, so I figured, well, no one's capped A if it dies on its approach. So be it. However, if it also gets in there and captures a point, you know, why not now? I should have done something with that a lot earlier, and it'll probably end up costing the game, to be honest. But you know, we'll figure that out, see how it goes. It's like I said, you know, you always need to be able to be getting these points, and time matters when you're playing these sort of games. Now, we don't have a timer on it. It's just first to, I think, 1,000 or 1,500.
We can't shoot that far.
Rat King's moving down, making a little bit use of that cover so he can limit the arcs of fire from the enemy. And ultimately, you know, protect himself while he gets his beams up there. There's the track 6583 at the back there. The heavy cruiser got crumped by something underneath. the center of the map or under A. It was either missiles. I'm pretty sure it was missiles. I wasn't really paying too much attention over there, but I do remember, and if you're reading the text on the chat, that yeah, something happened over there, and they go straight into point E, capping that early. Now we don't have A, so they're gonna be able to get something, or they're gonna get a fair advantage pretty quickly with a 3-to-1 capture, and that Corvette's just going to be able to sit on that point. Trying to get the lock. See again, I haven't pre-rolled, and because I haven't pre-rolled and the elevation of the guns, I'm not making effective use of my fire. Yeah, there we go, finally. That's not a ship, I think that's just a decoy out there. There's my ship. It's gone around to the other side, and I'm going to now move it around, try and get a lock. Don't want to turn, or the radar is on, sorry, so if I get within close enough, I should be able to detect something and then lock it.
Our sensors are going haywire.
Rat King taking a couple AP rounds.
Standing by. Apologies, Commander. We need to be closer for initiating target lock.
We'll get it done.
There we are, and we're getting the first lock from the Corvette onto the other side now. We'll see if that does anything. Now, this is the part where I think my positioning hasn't been very well. You can see where Rat King is, and you can see where I am, but I'm effectively blocked the angle. Like, I'm detected. The enemy knows that I'm here, but I can't effectively engage because I have positioned myself in such a way that I have no arcs of fire onto anything. So this could have gone either way. You know, I could have gone high, and you know there'd been some beams sitting there, and they get me very early, or I play this sneaky game. But we're about 50 points behind now, and I'm not getting a lot of rounds on target either. So I'm not really killing enough there. At this point, we also don't have any intel. So intel is always great. We don't actually know what those ships are, so it makes it harder to prioritize and target where we are. Now Rat King's getting a couple of beams out pretty well. He's also taking some AP from these other warships. So he's just trying to sit there, make sure that he's getting the beams on when they're up, and then dipping out of the way when they're not actually online, so that he can maintain that fire. Now we got a couple locks still. Corvette, HMAS Ghoul doing okay. I'm just making sure it gets detected there, so I just want to get it out of the way. I don't want to draw any fire onto my ships. By turning off the radar and just going with the pinard, then I'm able to remove that radar signature, or lower that radar signature, and then I turn it back on for some reason. So it must be because I was having some issues. Now that 3-to-1 lead is widening. They're up 80 points, going on for 90. Rat King's locked. I wish you could sort of see the Friends DC board. He's taken a lot of damage, and that's because I've basically left him up there as well. If we had both of our ships up there, it would have presented the enemy with more things to think about, or more dilemmas. And these are things we can. It's sometimes nice to do the live commentary on games, but also to sort of sit back and just sort of do a bit of an analysis afterwards when we have a bit more time. Still moving into A with anti-scout, but it's taking a long time. I can't really flank speed on it. I am trying to flank speed on the battleship though, just to sort of get in there, make sure that we can actually help. If Rat King goes down before I actually can help him, then it's sort of just a waste, and we're just piecemealing together. So Rail's coming across, hitting him. Rail's in the current patch, so when you play tomorrow with the OSP update, it's going to be completely different. But under the current update, under the 0.02 or 0.20 or something like that, basically the modular missiles update, rails aren't that strong, so he's able to sit up there and be okay. But if you try that with the next patch, you may not fare as well. I haven't played them myself, so just test them, let me know. Got about 20 seconds before I can start getting my broadsides on. I'm going to reposition the ghoul, make sure I continue seeing the tracks, and I'm really just checking here like all the time just to make sure I'm actually able to start engaging. And see what I've done is I'm actually underneath that lip. I should have potentially started coming up more once I cleared it, because I can't, which I now have to do. But I'm basically they're able to sit in this pocket up the top, and I'm not able to put any fire on. So, you know, we're like 14 minutes into the game, and I actually haven't really done a lot of firing yet.
Course laid in. Missile detected.
Looks like the PD on the Rat King is tanking it pretty well. So, you know, I think he's doing a good job there. There's the missile ships out to the right, hiding behind D as the Leap of Henrietta starts to burn up towards point C. There goes that bug again. We've taken E back now, so it's a 2 for 2. Where basically no one's making any sort of headway. Where we maintain the lead. The lead has sort of stabilized at around that 140 points, but you know, that is still a bit of a deficit to come back, especially as you start to get around to that halfway mark of the game. So it must be 1,000 points because we're at 370. That's just lower than half. So you, at this point, you know, you really want it to be a lot closer and then capture a point, and that's because no one's got A. If we had got A lot earlier, and I hadn't lost the spree of dying, could have changed. And here we go, we're still going in. You know, it's just taking forever. There's the missile ships underneath point A. They're just continuing on with all their, they look like hybrid missiles. Unsure what they are, but they are wrecking that fleet over there. They've taken out a light cruiser and a heavy cruiser, and I think there's just a frigate or 2 frigates over there. And look, that's unfortunate because, you know, that happens. I've been subject to that myself. So he's done really, really well to hold point E and even take it back.
Awaiting orders, Commander.
And sometimes that's all you can do is just delay the enemy.
Tracking missile.
We're underway, Commander.
Still taking forever for that ship to get in there. We're just limping across the map. Don't know if you can hear the birds outside, but they're certainly going for it. So 1 heavy cruiser left. They're taking E back again, so this will open the lead again a little bit more. Okay, I learnt from previous mistakes, so here I am starting to pre-roll. I should have checked out what was actually sitting down on E. I think it's probably that Corvette again. Yeah, Sprinter, so you can see we're starting to get some intel coming through now. I'm just going to start to go towards C because at this point we really need some points. I'm also going to move the anti-scout over to D. Now, I know, now that I'm actually watching this back, I saw those missiles come from there, and later on I get surprised when those missiles are there. But I could have actually snuck in through point D.
That's out of our range.
But I do something. I move my anti-scout around and then move it back, and it's just all time that we don't have in this game because point E keeps changing hands. And battleships aren't the fastest as well.
Awaiting orders, Commander.
Well, not always. So here's what I was talking about. I go to think, oh, I'll move around from the back of D. If I just kept going straight, instead of taking 3 minutes to get into position, I would have actually probably got there in about 2.5. And if I had captured that point and then forced the reaction from the missile fleet that was hanging around, then we would have been okay. Or at least, you know, we would have been able to then move on and do something else. But I decide to go around. I find the enemy. I get surprised. I come back around. It's all time.
Yeah, we see him.
Now, in the time it's taken our 2 battleships to move around, the enemy has also repositioned. So we're sort of going, all right, whereabouts are they? But they've actually moved, and they've moved over the top of the feature that we're actually moving to the right-hand side of, and they've repositioned one of the other asteroids.
Engage jamming.
Now we start to see them, and we start to jam, and then as we start to come out of cover, we can start to engage.
Standing by.
There I am. I'm actually capping A. I'm pretty sure that's me. They're moving into cap B, which, you know, is great, but again, you know, we've swapped points. They've got 2 ships over in B,
We're reading you.
and they're also going for E.
Locking target.
Now we start firing here. Come on, JD. There you go, mate. Well done.
We're ready when you are, Commander.
I know. I didn't get A, sorry. The frigate got A. I should have just kept going for A for that, because it's not going anywhere. At least something sitting on that point's better than nothing. HE now firing. Got some AAMs there. I think I tried to fire them in a direct fire roll. I don't know why. Or maybe I don't. There's our lock. Rounds firing. We clearly hit something there. At this point in time, it is not important to actually stop. It's to cross the distance between these 2 terrain features and then get into point C and really just prioritize getting these points. So we're now 3 for 2. Here's what I'm talking about. I find these missiles, or this missile fleet. There's also that missile fleet in the middle, and then I start to turn around. So having to brake, turn, re-accelerate. At this point, I was probably committed. I could have just kept going in, but instead of going all the way around to the other side of D, that's just, like I've said, it's just time. And I actually decided to go all the way into D, because I'm like, maybe I thought I'm committed there, but I hesitated, and I shouldn't have hesitated.
We'll get it done.
It's an interesting part of Nebulous Fleet Commander, is that the information warfare really makes you make decisions that you don't, you might not otherwise make with other strategy games. You know, if you're playing Age of Empires, for example, you see the enemy, you know how to counter it straight away, whereas with this information type battle, you're always fighting to find what am I actually fighting, is what I have the best target placement and target priority. It's all very important. I don't know why I'm firing these AMMs, because they won't do anything. I don't know. Enemies in a few different places. There are a couple on top of that terrain feature that we've been maneuvering around for a while. I'm in C, so I'm capping that. There's also a range off to the left, so it's got some missiles. We're also engaging not a battleship, but we're engaging something there. I'm going to repair my radar. My radar drive, not my radar. That's my accent there for you. So we want to keep our drives functioning and power. We are going to start firing at the Axford up here. Now that is a rail Axford. It's probably not as dangerous, but I'm still going to shoot at it, because this is the chance I've been waiting for all game. And then we've got the Ghoul now sitting in on point D.
Understood. We're en route.
Aye, aye.
Capping that, my plan for that Corvette is to also then move straight onto point A. We've taken point C. Now where is point C? I can't remember where C is. A's in the middle of the map. Oh, I'm on point C. You're looking at it. Yeah, I'm sitting on point C now. So we've got A, C, and B. I'm capping D, and we've got E. So at this point, I'm thinking, yeah, the game's going pretty well. We're actually, apart from that railgun strike, we're actually doing fairly well at this point in time, because this is the first time all game we're actually going to get more capture points than the enemy. Just loitering around. I want to sit on the edge of point D, and there we go. Now I've got it, and we're going straight to point E. We're going to go help this heavy cruiser out, and we want to make sure that we start firing as soon as we can.
Not possible.
Do a bit of a burn through, lots of jamming. There we go. Find it, lock it, and we're going to start firing all our 450mm at the heavy cruiser.
Acknowledged.
We're going to use a bit of a heading roll to assist moving our ship around. I still want to hold behind point C1 to cap it and maintain capture, but also because there is a battleship and some other ships around, and I don't want to engage those at this point in time. Now, this heavy cruiser with railguns is supported by a sprinter and a... words are eluding me because it's getting late at night now. This is the second video of the night. And a frigate. Now, in terms of target prioritization, you'll see it coming up. I don't want to just only fire at the heavy cruiser because the heavy cruiser is being enabled by the two smaller ships. So wherever you can, if you can take out these smaller ships that are supporting a larger ship, you can almost peel off some of the layers of protection in that sort of
No can do.
defense onion that you'll hear people talk about. Blanket Jam's coming back online. I want to blanket them just as much as they blanket me, but they're getting B and E back. So, you know, we've started to we've gone from 140 points down to 90 points. We even had all 5 points at one point. A lot of points there. Still rotating around, just so low. And you know what? Again, I did a heading, but I should have maybe just done a roll as well. That could have helped. Anti-scouts coming in to support. We have taken point E back, but we have lost point B in return, which was our original point.
Understood. Engaging the enemy.
Now I can't get direct shots with that scout, anti-scout yet, so we'll just have to deal with it. There's an EWA frigate, and it's EWA frigate with some point defense. Now I'm going to start firing at that because that is what it keeps jamming me, and I'm also going to, when I've selected my ship, remember to target that as a priority, and I want Rat King to also target that as well, so that it stops jamming. And there's a corvette there as well, which is also jamming. So they are the two that I want to go for. Now Rat King will absolutely destroy those two ships way faster than I will, particularly that that sprinter. But I'm getting some good shots onto the frigate, which should be doing some good damage internally. And I think after a few more salvos, I will switch fire. Now he's firing onto the corvette, which is great. So a bit of teamwork makes the dream work. And at this point, it's also good to switch fire. Now, it looks like they're in a formation with the heavy cruiser, which means they're not going to be using their full ability to dodge from the 450mm cannons, especially at that range. So what I want to do is switch over to the corvette, and if you can notice that they're in a formation, you want to be able to take advantage of that just as much as when they're not. Now, anti-scout starts to move out. You saw that a little bit. I should have just kept going for E, but, you know, that's what the, hindsight is for. Because I thought the corvette that was hanging around E was dead. Frigate looks down. We got some beams onto the corvette, but it's still moving. And we're getting some HE shots now onto the heavy cruiser. It's still firing, and I want to cut through that jamming just to make sure I can get that corvette. Spree dying, still kicking around. It's not really doing much. Probably should have just sat on A so it capped the point, because you can see the Uniduck Reigns also moving in here. So there's a lot of learning points even for me at this game. I'm going to start firing at that Reigns, but at the same point E is captured. So this sprinter will be the bane of me from a Uni. Just well done, mate. You just frustrated me the whole time with that ship not dying, and later on he would go on to say that it was had basically a whole bunch of reinforced compartments, and yeah, I just could not get it to die at all. No matter how much RPF I shot at it, it was fine. HE wasn't in sufficient quantities to kill it. Yeah, just annoyed the hell out of me. Yeah, we get some shots onto the corvette. Corvette's not doing it isn't obviously too great in terms of strength and whatnot, so should be able to easily destroy that. I keep seeing that it's this corvette here keeps going on and offline. You know, adhering to the principle of, you know, waiting till you see the magic smoke or the alarm sound or any of the life pods coming out. Absolutely important before leaving a command capture point, and you know, something that I'll probably take away from this lesson.
Yeah, we've got him now.
This heavy cruiser is still going. We're wasting a lot of time on this rail heavy cruiser. If we move off the point, he'll probably capture it. But we're also 2 down. We have closed it from 680, from 140 points down to 4 points, but we are 3-2 now. We've captured A because we managed to destroy that. I'm sitting on E, but we're also being contested by the fact that this sprinter is still functioning and has ammo and or a working gun. So I'm going to mark that one as killed. Job done there, and off we go, firing back again at Uni's Corvette.
Power has been restored.
Solution locked in.
What? I was going to say, I don't know why I didn't lock that, but there we go. I do. Again, still some hits. Late game Corvettes can always be annoying if you don't lock them down. And this is the first time that you can see on the other side of the screen that there is a Solomon Voxels that are coming for me, coming down for point E.
Aye, Commander. Moving out. Dialing in, Commander.
What are we doing here? What are we doing? Spree dying. The wounded Corvette, it's still on fire. It's not really going anywhere now.
Ready when you are,
HMAS Ghoul getting in there.
received. Engaging now.
There you go. You can see Uni Sprinter coming back online. The thing just will not die. It's a real testament to Alliance engineering, the fact that they can repair and rebuild a ship or repair a ship so often in combat. This is where if I had a few missiles on these ships, it probably would do well, but it's just not how they're built. Maybe some AP is worth investing in. 100 points of AP for the Corvettes. I think I'm checking for smoke here.
Awaiting orders, Commander. Order received. Engaging now. Missile away.
Now, I don't see exactly what missile that was, but I don't think... It's a VLS-23. Is it an offensive missile or a defensive missile?
Initiating
I can't see. I'm moving my cursor too fast.
Ready.
Spree dying is just soaking up a bit of firepower. Leap of Henrietta not doing anything at this point in time. Should probably be moving to point D. 30 points at the moment. The gap is widening. I am trying to shoot at the Ghoul. Sorry, I am trying to shoot at the Uni Spine whilst I capture E. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm firing anti-missile missiles. Yeah, look, don't fire anti-missile missiles. It's been a while since I've played when I played on this game, and yeah, I just completely forgot that that does absolutely nothing. It's probably worthwhile me investing in a couple size 1 missiles offensively as well as defensively, but that probably would have helped. But in this game, yeah, I just was firing anti-missile missiles at everything. Just got lost in the moment and it didn't do stuff. So here you can see it's just sitting around. It's sitting in the point, and basically what it's doing is it's buying time. It's trading health for time, and basically a textbook delaying action, really, just waiting for the voxels now to come into range. I'm trying to, a little bit too late, I realised that I should be moving this battleship down to point D, and again it takes a long time to move, so I could have started moving it a little bit earlier. Live and learn. I say that in a few videos, but I don't know if I'm actually learning as much as I should be saying.
We are securing zone box. The enemy is securing zone atlas.
Yeah, there we go. Dead. Gone. There. Remember to select your ship. Yep, and then signal. 3rd time's a charm. Well done, JD. Always got to communicate with your teammates, whether you're in Discord or just chat. Just let people know what you're doing. The enemy's taken back E because I think I've slipped out of. Oh, he's finally slipped out of E, so I'm taking it back. We're losing A in the center. Can't tell. What are we doing anymore?
Knock him out.
Yeah, we're losing A in the center, and we're capping B with this heavy cruiser over here. It's snuck past everybody and managed to get into position. So we'll trade B for A whilst I start to get E. Points are about 60 ahead for the red team at the moment.
Jamming.
Whilst I can, I'll start firing on a couple of these light cruisers, but it probably won't do too much at this distance. I'm still shooting at uni. Said enough about that.
Understood. Engaging the enemy. We're on our way.
We have secured Zone Eclipse.
So 130 points for red team to win. We've got 3, they've got 2. I'm still kicking around on point E, and then I think, I should go off to point D. Again, just not worth actually doing. I already had a battleship moving into point D. I should have just sat and hid on point E, because this ship will come back again and again. Maybe he should be, HMAS Ghoul, because they just keeps coming back like a zombie.
Knock him out. Ready.
Awaiting orders, Commander. We're on our way.
So instead of going for D, I was like, there he goes. He turns his engines on and he just manages to slip in. I thought instead of going for D, I'll go for A. If I can go for A, it's closer because I'm not going to make it to D in time. Instead, E will start to be captured in a second, so I have to brake and turn back, and that again just causes conflictions. I should have just kept sitting there, kept shooting. RPF probably isn't doing much at this point in time because of reinforced components, but which I didn't know, but HE is probably the name of the game here, I think. Opportunistic fights or shots from my ship over to track 2293, which is the Rail Axford. Yeah, there we go. Don't fire AMMs at an enemy, it won't do anything. And this is pretty tight. He's changing hands again. I'll get back in there. That should at least also contest if I am quick enough. So what would have been underneath AE would have been the Solomon and the Voxels, because we didn't see them basically for most of the game. So we can see he's contested now because of the flashing red line or red letter, and I'm starting to take a bit of 250 fire. I want to actually start to hide behind that terrain. That Voxel's coming in hot. You can see the shots on the screen coming down. I'm starting to take a little bit of damage. I'm trying to use that terrain just to block line of sight, minimize the fire angles from the enemy. I am blocked, so he is accurate, and just still trying to fire.
We're underway, Commander.
I don't really have any missiles in this fleet, so the ability to fire a couple supporting missiles isn't really possible. Maybe something I'll actually go back and have a look at.
We're ready when you are, Commander.
As I was saying, the Mark 65 is a triple-barreled 250mm cannon, which the Alliance can use. And that'll sit on the top front mount of the Solomon, and it'll be able to fire HE and HE RPF. And I think that is really what I'll be using now to to destroy any of the lighter ships, so that I can then focus my 450mm on the heavier ships. The output shouldn't really be too much of a change, because I think it's only double barrel, so I think it was only got like a 2 or 3 auto loader. It wasn't super high. 946, 968, we're about 20 points apart. 22 points apart, which is actually pretty good considering we were down 140 points. These tight games are really the ones that make you enjoy the game, even if you lose. At least you're like, oh, it was tight. So I'm capping D. I am trying to continue down, trying to get those fire angles onto point E. From point D to point E, where those ships are, it's not possible. We've lost the anti-scout, so point E now quickly converts over to the enemy. Now if I had sat on that point, I could have potentially then forced them to take, I think it takes about 30 seconds to capture a point. So we would have held that for, I think, another 2 ticks. We would have got a few more points. 994 to 970. We are capping point D, which is me. We have B, we have C. We don't have E, and we lose A. We lost A early on. So that's it. 1,000 points to the red team, and 974 for the blue. A close game, one with a couple learning points that I hope you've taken away. So thanks for watching, and take care.